Moving on to the agenda of the day. Fridays, we do focus on climate change and its impacts to agriculture, and we also focus on sustainability. What can we do to make sure that we are able to meet our food needs, not just for this generation, but for the future generations to come? Now, one of the ways that can help us achieve sustainability in agriculture is through proper waste management. Now, in agriculture, there is a lot of waste that is generated, and this waste is classified into three. We have organic waste, we also do have inorganic waste, and hazardous waste as well. These are the classification of all the waste that is released from the agricultural sector. Now, if we do not handle this waste carefully, it does have significant effects to the environment and to human beings as well. We will be breaking down this waste later, but for now, we are going to start the show by showing you how you can make good use of organic waste in your farm. Take a look. You see us out in the farm, then you know a very interesting farmer story is awaiting you. Now, today we will be talking about organic farming, or what we also call biological farming or ecological farming, which is a system of agriculture that emphasizes on the use of naturally occurring inputs. Now, with organic farming, it aims to produce quality food, highly nutritious, with no chemicals at all. So what practices support organic farming? To learn more about that, we came all the way to KIOF, which is Kenya Institute of Organic Farming, right here in Juja, and we will be meeting Mr. Julius, who will be educating us a lot more on organic farming and the benefits of organic farming as well. Come, let's meet our farmer and trainer of the day. Hi, Mr. Julius.
Hello.
How are you?
Me, I'm all right.
You're
okay.
well?
Yes.
Good to see you. I see there's a lot of action happening. What is going on?
Yeah, we were just winding up on composting. We had a lesson with my students here on composting.
Right.
Yeah.
Hao ndo wanafunzi wako?
Hao ndio wanafunzi wangu.
Habari ya wanafunzi? Mko salama? All right. Good. Give us a brief on what exactly is happening here.
Oh, that's very wonderful. Let's walk a little bit closer here. This, as you have just said, is our composting area. Actually, it's a training aid for our students and for the farmers. We try to train farmers and the students that it is not very good to get the manure from the animal unit straight to the garden. So you have to take it first through a process of decomposition, and this is where we bring it. The material from the animal unit, we first press it here. This is just the leftovers after you feed the animals with garden refuse. Yeah, you bring it here, and then from here you take it. Like you can, like for example, here we have pigs. We don't have cows here.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But you see what we get from the pigs unit.
This is the waste from pigs.
Yeah, the waste from pigs. And when we get it from the pigs, we call it manure. This is manure. It is not yet compost.
Before we even get into the details of these stages, kwa sababu ningependa tuingie huko ndani tuangalie how they look in the different stages. Hii imetoka directly from our pig. Mkulima akifanya hiyo makosa ya kuchukua hii apeleke kwa shamba directly, what are some of the repercussions that farmer will face?
Oh, wonderful. That's a very good question. One of the things is that some of the material that you take to the farm straight from the animal unit are not fully decomposted. You know, our crops feed by the process of absorbing. Yeah, it's absorption. It's not like human beings how we chew. Yeah. So the plants, we have to make the food for plants, in quotes, food for plants as soluble to the crops as possible. This is what we call the humus. You have to, decompose it until it becomes humus, completely soluble to by the plant's feeding roots and the feeder roots. Food for crops is called humus. and food for microorganisms is called organic matter. Right. This is still organic matter. Then we turn it into humus.
Humus.
Yes.
For the crops.
For the crops.
Able to repeat your point, Tena. Food for crops?
Food for crops is humus.
Right.
Food for microorganisms is organic matter.
Yes. And that's what we have here
That
now.
is what we have here.
Organic
what we
matter.
have here is organic matter. This becomes the first stage. So you start off by laying on the ground twigs or branches of trees, and then you come with a layer of dry organic matter. Then you put it on the twigs, after which now you come with the manure from the animal unit. You put a very good layer, about 1 feet or 2 feet. And then from there, you add some ash, some wood ash. You sprinkle wood ash. When you sprinkle wood ash, you are actually sprinkling some nutrients into some minerals into your compost. Right. Like, for example, you are sprinkling carbon. You know, wood ash is very rich in carbon. And it is also a neutralizer for soil acidity.
Right.
After you have made the first layer, I have said you put the twigs, then you come with the dry material, and then on top of the dry matter you come with, you put a layer, a good layer, about 2 feet or 1 feet of the animal manure, and then from there you sprinkle wood ash, and then you sprinkle topsoil. Topsoil is also very rich in microorganisms. It is very rich in microbes, so you sprinkle it. It's like you are encouraging microorganisms to come into the compost heap to do their work. Right. Their work is to compost. And then you come with water. You sprinkle water. You put water again. You continue until your heap is on a workable height. Right. At a workable height, you don't build it to become so high. You don't make a small one. Just make it to be on a workable height, where, because after every 3 days, you can see this stick here. This one is called a thermostick. You press it, you drive it inside on a horizontal manner into your compost heap. Just as I have called it, a thermostick, it is used to determine or to control the temperatures inside the heap. Right. Yes. After every 3 days, you are encouraged to come and pull it out. You pull it out and immediately feel it. Like now you can feel it. I know it is very dirty.
Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah, you can feel the warmth. Now that warmth tells you how it is inside there. If it is too hot, then you know your microorganisms are suffering. They are suffering. If it is too cold and too wet, then they might also die out of, when you die out of water, too much water, it's like you're drowning. Yeah, they are drowning. So if it is too hot, you come with water. If it is too wet, sometimes it might be too wet, you remove the blanket. The blanket in this case is the mulch. Now, here, this heap will stay here for 21 days. That is 21 days. And every time, after every 3 days, we say you come and check on your thermostick. Temperature. Yeah, check on your temperature from the thermostick, using the thermostick. Right. Yeah, the thermostick. This thermostick will tell you when you need to add water, when you don't need to add water, when you need to remove the blanket, when you need to cover it more. Yeah, because what we need at the end of the day is that we need a moist, not a wet, not a dry, but moist substance.
Great. So 21 days here, but after every 3 days we come and check our temperature. After
every 3 days we come and check on our temperatures. And then after 21 days, we turn all this to this second heap.
Okay.
Yes. Remember, we are making food for our crops. So you turn it so that the one that was at the bottom comes at the top. The one that was at the middle comes. You know, you mix it up. It's kind of, you are mixing it up. You put it on this head, but remember to start by the twigs. And a layer of dry matter. Dry matter. The dry matter in this case will act as so that when you put the compost, it doesn't go down to the ground.
Right.
Yeah, it will act as a barrier so that it doesn't go to the ground. Right. The twigs will act as a space for air, for aeration of your compost. So when you have put all that here, and then after that you cover it with your mulch.
Again.
And put your thermostick again.
All right.
When it is when you have turned it, then put back your thermostick, and after every 3 days, just as we said there, you remove your thermostick and fill it. You realize that the temperatures have fallen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the temperatures have fallen because there's lesser food here for microorganisms. That is why the heat is decreasing. If you pull this thermostick and find some white things on it. These things sometimes arch-like, they look like arch. It's as if somebody had poured some arch on it. This white thing here is called fire fungus. It's a short form for fungi. It's a fungi that thrives best when the temperatures are below 70 degrees. When you start seeing these things, it shows that something has stopped. If you allow them to grow, decomposition stops, because definitely the microorganisms are dying. They are dead. Once they are dead, decomposition stops. After 14 days, your compost is almost ready for use.
All right.
Yeah, but just to be very sure it is, you turn it into a rust heap, which is 14 days, which it will start here for 14 days. Necessarily here you don't have to put, you don't necessarily have to put the twigs, because this is one thing, it can act as a store. It can act as a store for your compost. And because if you don't need the compost immediately into your farm, then you can keep it somewhere, as long as it is a shaded place, it is under a shade, and it is covered.
Right.
Yeah.
So tukishamaliza your process, now we're in stage 3. If I'm looking at my manure after the decomposing has happened, inafaa kukaje? What's the consistency
very
like?
Good.
Ndo nijue yes, nimefanya kazi mzuri.
Very good. That's a very, very good question. The last stage should be black, and that is, some people call it black gold. Yeah, it should be black in color. And sweet smelling. You know, when you get it from the animal unit, you don't like the smell. Hakunuki vizuri. Even many people do not like it. But when it ends up here, it is sweet smelling, and your end result should be black. Let me show you.
Okay.
A black material, this one, which is sweet smelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot compare it with what we have here. So it smells filthy.
Yes.
And of course, not very friendly to our noses. And one thing we encourage the farmers, and we want the farmers to realize and to know, is that your compost should be warm, should be moist, not wet and not dry. The best end result of the organic, the fully decomposted material is a material like this one. Of course, sometimes you need to sieve it if you want to expose it for sale, so that you remove some of the the materials that have not fully decomposed. But when you hold your manure like this, a good manure product should form a ball when you press it.
Right.
Like this, a ball. And it should not. Let me get a handful from a place where it has been overwatered.
Okay.
Yes. If you place it like this, so much, and you see there is water.
Water coming out.
Yeah, water coming out between your fingers. That is bad compost.
Right.
Yeah, that
this
is
has
bad
been
compost.
overwatered.
It has been overwatered. You remove the mulch and leave it open for some time.
Right.
But don't expose it directly to the sun.
Right.
Just remove the mulch and leave it for some time. It will lose excess water.
So this ball iko sawa, ito iko sawa.
Sasa hiyo ball iko sawa.
All
Sasa
right.
iko sawa. Let it should form a ball.
Right.
Yeah. And it should not be dusty.
I want you to talk to that farmer back at home who wants to understand the benefits of going organic as compared to the chemical fertilizers. Na pia kuna ile swala ya this process can be quite hectic. It takes a lot of days. You have to constantly come and check after 3 days. There's the smell issue. Kuna mtu tu anafikiria siniende tu ninunue packet pale ya chemical fertilizer niweke kwa shamba and I'm good to go. How can you advise the farmer with such a mentality?
Oh, now, the process of composting is very laborious. Sometimes it is very dirty. It's dirty work. But the end results are very, 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 very good. They are good for you and they are sustainable. They are sustainable. It's a sustainable result because once you put manure, once you put compost in your garden, compost serves in many, many stages in your crop production. It acts as a water retention, aid. It helps your soil to retain water. Even when it becomes very dry, like now you can see it is very, very hot. The crops that have been applied with compost, that have been planted using compost, are very different. Right. Again, the compost is used for a long, long time. That means if you apply enough compost for now, if you apply enough compost in your crops, and then next year you don't have, maybe your cow dies or something happens and you don't have compost in the farm, you still plant and you still harvest, which is opposed to the fertilizer use. You have to apply fertilizers every time during planting, and in this case you are using money. You know, the manure, the organic, the non-organic fertilizers are costly,
Right.
and then you put in a lot of chemicals in your so they have also a drying effect,
Right.
as opposed to compost. The soil that is very much used to chemical fertilizers becomes very dry very quickly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Julius. Tutasalimiana tu na hizi mikono zetu zikiwa hivi.
Yeah, hiyo ndio gold yetu.
That's our gold.
Yes.
And that's why you are on Kenya's gold.
Yes, sure.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Julius,
Thank
for
you.
talking to us.
Thank
I
you,
believe our farmers back at home have learned so much about the proper procedure of making your organic manure back at home.
Yes.
Thank you so very much also for watching our feature. Remember, Fridays we do focus on sustainability in agriculture, and of course organic manure is one of the assured bets when it comes to promoting sustainability in agriculture, because one, it does protect your soil, it protects your environment, it protects you as a consumer of the food, and also it does protect our animals. Thank you so much for watching, but do keep it Kenya's Gold. We still have a lot more in store for you.